Hello, everybody, and welcome to Conversations with Friends in High Vibrational Places. My name is Christine Laria, and it is my great pleasure today to welcome to our conversation Sabine Mead, who is a body continuum teacher and liver of many mysteries. I would say it that way. And so I'm going to introduce Sabine just from what I know of her and how we came to get to be connected, which is always so fun to watch cosmic connections at play. And I got to know her through a request of a mutual friend, our beautiful astrologer friend, Elias Lonsdale, who's also been on this series. And because of that, and she came to the island, I got to meet her and get exposed to her work and participate as a student, which is always fun for me because I love learning things. And from there, I've discovered, I can speak for myself, how much we look at this world that we live in and both the physicality of it as well as the invisible reality of it in such similar and beautifully happy ways. So welcome, Sabine, to the conversation.
Aloha. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. You know, one of the things I love about the connection too is that you have a long history with Hawaii, with the island, and with its, I would say, mystical historic traditions. And so because I'm here in the Hawaiian Islands, I'm just going to start with that and
Mhm.
invite you to share a little bit about your learning and your own explorations of the Hawaiian traditions and how that informs your life.
Wow. Well, I mean, you kind of already named it in the sense that it's it's fascinating and mysterious how we get cosmically connected. The choreography, I'm just going to speak from my kind of point of view of movement, and I really see the universe and everything in it as a choreography. Um, where there's a lot of order in the chaos, and yet there's still a lot of chaos too. So it's really funny, but specifically, I came to Hawaii. I was invited by a friend to visit. That was my first time. We spent 2 weeks on Kauai. And when I was there, I bought a bottle of hydrosol mist spray. And it was plumeria, which of course grows on Hawaii and does not grow in the Appalachian Mountains where I live. So when I ran out of that, I savored it and then, used it sparingly. And when I ran out of it, I was very sad. And so I looked at the bottle and I was like, can I get more of this? And I found the person and their website. And when I found their website, it was like a whole world. And in I dove. So I would say that I have experienced my particular compass point connected to my antenna as being very clear and very strong for me in my life.
Mhm.
And so when that thing dings, like I'm all I'm all there. And I started my I'm going to say my questioning, my practice of inquiry, I don't know, very early in life. And there were just things that were off in my childhood. Like, there were just things that were like, this is not my reality. You've got to be kidding me. This is what we're doing here. No, no, no. So, uh, as I kind of moved beyond my parents' home and out into the world, I found Native American shamanism. That was my first real dive into something completely different. And then I got into the whole Hindu and yoga realm, and that felt very familiar. Like, oh yes, I know this. I know this place. I know this realm. And from there, it went into Egypt and the Egyptian. I'm going to say maybe my Egyptian resonance, the resonance I happen to have with that particular expression of humanity. And I would even say that particular time went into a little bit of my inquiry into Atlantis, And I'm not going to go into any of these tangents other than say that I've explored that as a possibility. It's something I'm really wide open in terms of my what I can invite in to be true. And again, I'm listening for that, like that sort of compass point to really ding, and it's a resonant experience for me. So when I smelled this stuff and I had to have more, and I found this website, Pohala Botanicals. I ordered more, but then I got curious about what else. His name is Keone Hanale, and he is in Maui. I got very interested in his work, and so he is a lineage holder for the Hawaiian Mu lineage, and the Mu being the lineage of human beings that were on the Hawaiian Islands prior to the Polynesians discovering the Hawaiian Islands. And he is connected to a family and is the person in that family, in the current event of that family, who is the lineage carrier for that family. And he can sing his family ancestor names back 18,000 years. And
can we just pause and take a breath with that for a minute?
yeah,
Because that
really.
right there is like, I just got the full body, angel bumps of the power of that, just breathing in,
Yeah,
singing your ancestors' songs that go back all the way 18,000 years.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Thank
He's
you.
a remarkable human. And when I was reading his website, I just was captivated, and I felt like I'd already been through all these other points in my journey. So when I found him, I just started exploring. I trust that sensation in me that says yes, this is a yes.
Mhm.
So it was like the next thing, and it was connected to Hawaii, and it was a few years after I'd been to Kauai. And so really what I want to say is, like, it's my nose. My nose led me to
Mhm.
Hawaii, to
Mhm.
as a spiritual inquiry, as a place to really dive in and discover more about who I am, who we are.
Yeah, and so this is so interesting to me because I remember you very, very clearly saying, that you weren't adopting a new sort of lineage of study and of living because you have your lineage, which is this body continuum work. And we're absolutely going to get into that. Part of what I found, and which just got to tell everybody, is just this most fascinating, um, as you say, exploration and inquiry that is like it's all your psychedelic openings without any medicines, any plant medicines. It's one of those portals. So we're going to get into that. And what I found so fascinating in when I attended your workshop here on Hawaii Island, and you said, my brain just went blank. Well, you spoke about the Meane'e beings, which were in the lineage that you're talking about of the Mu, that going back these thousands of years, are plasma beings, creator plasma beings. And you were really the first time that I heard anybody describe what I had encountered very intimately, powerfully, and which guides me still today on the inner plane, a group of plasma beings that I know as my home beings. So again, the way, the cosmic choreography works, and so that just the something that you may mention in a discourse in preparing us for a continuum dive went, oh, and I find again the cosmic choreography to be so incredibly satisfying. And another thing that I remember you saying many times actually is, we are a dance of water and light. We are a dance of water and light. And so when we get into what is this continuum inquiry, and what I find that you bring to it, again, you're the only one I know. I have not
Mhm.
studied with other teachers, but you, of course, learned from the founder of the practice, Emily Conrad. You bring your flavor to it like we all do, whatever it is. And my awareness with you, Sabine, is you bring always the piece that anchors us right here in the body, like being here in the body with your great love affair with the body. And I just don't know that many people who have the same kind of love affair with physicality the way that you do. I mean, it's really beautiful.
Neither do I.
Right, I know. Honestly, you're just like, I love the body. And then you take that, as you've mentioned many times, as the portal to the infinite. And, it's sort of like, I heard you say not too long ago, like the call seems to be get into the body or get out, of this realm, because people are leaving the planet in various ways. And there's a call. We all know this is the journey of the awakening, the ascension, the light body. It's embodiment, it's cellular, it's down to the nitty gritty. And then it just takes you and catapults you off into the ether and beyond. So yeah, tell us a little bit about Continuum, because I'm sure there are a lot of people listening who don't know what that is. Mm-hmm. And in particular, anything that you want to share about what it is that really lights you up about it.
Thank you.
Not just what it is, but what lights you up about it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. What a beautiful invitation. So it's kind of hard to drop Continuum into a category. Mm-hmm. Hence the name Continuum, which is all-inclusive, all-encompassing. So to kind of walk us in the door, what I can say is it is a somatic practice, and by that I mean that we are moving our bodies, and so movement is essential. But the particular orientation to movement is fluid movement. So really, the template we're looking at is, how does water move?
How does water move? Why I like it?
Yeah. So you think about how the ocean moves, undulation, wave motion, but all the ways that water moves, the spirals, the vortices, the upwelling, the
various states of it not being one thing or another. It's interdimensional.
Yeah. And what we're really understanding now in our more current science is that the universe is not empty, it's full, and it's full of ether, and ether is a sort of a pre-movement or a preformed water. So so fluid movement is kind of at the heart of it, and sort of what makes Continuum hard to categorize, because it isn't just fluid movement. We're also weaving in sound. And all the sound that we use in Continuum, you make from your own vocal cords. So you're using your own biological intelligence, your own architecture, your own design, your own signature frequency, your own unique resonance that your tissue makes, which changes over time as you practice Continuum, because tissue changes. It doesn't stay the same. And all the sounds that we use are non-lingual. They're no words. We're not really using. We might use seed sounds from certain languages, but we're not interested in meaning. This is not songs with words. This is not chanting. So we're trying to invite everyone to dive under that kind of neocortical activity of meaning making and just go into the realm of
we just say that again. Let's dive under the neocortical realm of meaning making.
You got it, girl. Yeah. Let's, in other words, let's not think. Let's not analyze. Let's not categorize. Let's not do all that, but move into the depth of direct experience, which is through felt sensation. So, I don't know who or what designed this organism. I would say just the intelligence of the universe, source creation, whatever, however you want to express it. But they went to a lot of trouble to architect an exquisite vehicle like this that is so sensate, that is so sensitive, that has everything designed in this architecture is to feel, not just through the portals of perception, but through the whole body, and as well as the emotions and the sensations are interwoven. So we don't know what emotion we have unless we have a sensation, right? So we are exquisitely designed to be a feeling, sensing situation, event. That's always like day in, day out. It's always on. And so instead of being in the fullness of that experience, right? And being in the fullness of it. And this is something that the Mu doctrines really go into in a very beautiful way, but really articulating the nuances of our feelings, all the feelings that we have. Like in the course of one day, let alone 1 hour, we can go from, anger and rage to sorrow to like laughing our heads off and having a huge discharge about it to just being like empty and quiet and peaceful. That can happen in like 5 minutes, let alone less than, more than that. So this organism is just exquisitely designed for that. And Continuum invites us to go into that feeling, sensing kind of intelligence and knowing. And the way we do that is with breath is another focus, breathing, and our attention. So it's really, those 5 elements are kind of like the foundation of it, and really that foundation is sitting on inquiry. So we're interested in the question: what am I? What is this? What do I feel? What do I? It's the question.
Yeah, and I think for those among us that have like to explore altered states of consciousness frequently through pranayama, breath work, through movement, through meditation, through energy activation, through sound, all kinds of ways. We're familiar, we come to that point where you find, and I had one of these in one of our continuum dives, where you're looking at some point like at your form and going, I have no idea what this is. I have no idea what this actually is. Whereas the conceptual mind is always, well, it's this and it's that. And what I love about what you're opening up into is that it opens us into a space beyond what we know. And so it's an avenue of felt sensation and experiential, situation, but it takes you fully beyond anything, for me at least, beyond anything that's even just sensate, because it moves into the realm of pure awareness, and that is beyond anything that we actually sense or feel with these bodies. And that feels to me like how the practice becomes the finite being the portal to the infinite, the opening into what's beyond through what is here. And yet that seems to be the piece that so many people actually miss, is being here in
Absolutely.
order to explore what's beyond here. Yeah.
I mean, I think that they go together. I mean, it's like you don't go high unless you go down. You got to go low to go high. You got to go deep to get to the heights. Yeah. So this is why, kind of the ascension journey is like, well, you got to descend to ascend.
Absolutely.
And for me, it translates into being in a body, being here, like you incarnated. So get here. So move in. Move in, like really move into the situation. Unfortunately, we just have a culture, a very excarnational culture. It's all about not being in a body. So, my
while
mentor,
at the same time being so ultimately preoccupied with the appearance of the body, but not actually being in it. It's a really weird conundrum, isn't it?
Yes.
It's like being the magazine picture of the body, but not actually being present in and as your body. Fascinating.
It's a performance as opposed to an authentic expression.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Right. So we're taught to perform being in a body as opposed to really dropping in, because really dropping in, number one, requires a lot of responsibility. You have to be responsible for all of these feelings, all of these choices, all of these,
and it requires a lot of guts, honestly, a lot of
frankly,
courage.
yes,
Yeah.
without question, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, being a human being is an immense experience. It's immense, and I think that's why a lot of people are, leave and are leaving,
Mm.
because things are, spinning faster, or they're intensifying, or they're amplifying in certain ways. And I mean, I think it's harder than ever to be in a body. And at the same time, I've been working at it, so to speak, working at it, diving into it, exploring it my whole entire life.
Mhm.
So for me, what you just expressed is the aspect of continuum that I call shamanic. It
Mhm.
has a very shamanic capacity, which means because we're going into the body, which I believe is just a fractal of the whole. And I don't think the universe does anything but wholeness.
Mm.
In other words,
Yeah.
whatever the universe creates, it's just bumping it down in size, but it's maintaining its wholeness. Because even in the body, the cell is a wholeness, it's a universe.
Mhm.
So to me, when we kind of, it doesn't come with operating instructions, or maybe it did at one point, but our ancestors kind of lost those, or somebody hid them or took them or something. you know I don't
Some
really know
things
the
happen
answer.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something happened. And so we're kind of in this place of trying to get back into understanding how to really be in a body, how to really, what is it really for, how do we really access the infinite realms while being in a body. And for me, right there, I'm already speaking paradox. So the culture we live in is, has been historically very dualistic, which doesn't support us in creating a brain that can hold paradox. But
Mhm.
for me, in my inquiry, and certainly Continuum has amplified that immensely, is
Mhm.
my capacity to hold paradox, the both and.
I
So I
have,
am,
yeah.
I am finite. I'm a finite, in a limited expression of the universe, and yet I'm whole. And I'm an individual, but I'm also a we. I'm not either or. I'm both and. I call it the we.
Mhm.
And then I'm also like, yeah. I mean, I think that if you want to go everywhere, you have to be here.
Yeah. I love what you said too about holding paradox, because I've long taught in the work that I do that it is one of the markers of an awakening or awakened consciousness that you can hold mutually exclusive truths, which are completely contrary, but both, but all, or both, or however much are all true, and you can be in that awareness without dissonance, without any, yeah, any dissonance. So yeah.
Yeah, we're we have a lot of growing to do in this department right here, consciously. But it is a growing edge, because I think
Mhm.
it is really more of where truth tends to land,
Oh,
regardless of,
absolutely.
regardless of the culture, or
Mhm.
anything. Like, it is a fundamental, I don't know, cross cultural truth.
Mhm.
We can even put it that way.
Yeah.
So, but it does require a shift when your brain has been trained in to think in a dualistic manner,
And it has been trained. Make
and it
no
has been
mistake.
trained.
Yes.
So yeah, and so um yeah, coming back to the body, I mean, the body just has a whole nother kind of knowing
Hmm.
than the mind.
Oh,
So,
yes.
for me, the movement is a much more ancient language, movement and sound, than thinking and thought. So if you look, like, the universe has been moving and making sound much longer than thinking in English, or in Sanskrit, or in German, or whatever language. So
Hmm.
and yet I also believe that language is one of humanity's, like, most amazing creations. Like, it's extraordinary
Yeah.
on one level, and on another level, wait a minute, our fundamental languages are movement and sound. Let's get good at those.
Yeah, let's get good at those. Back to this amazing dance, like you were just saying, of let's get back to sound and movement, because we are that. That is the essence of of creation, of frequency, of the
Yes.
body, of everything in it. There's nothing static. We know this. Nothing static.
Yes.
Everything is moving. There's only
Yes.
ever even an illusion of matter. So within that, diving into ourselves as sound. And we are literally, oh, what did you say once? You said, we are conductors who are continually composing and decomposing. Meaning, we are through the sound, we're composing, and through the silence and sort of that exhale, the becoming and the unbecoming, the becoming and the unbecoming. And so we are literally a dance of sound all the
We are.
time. And
Yeah.
yet, what I see, Sabine, is most people, I just taught on this recently, they're just living from thought. They live from thought all the time. People live from thought. They try to create from thought. They try to navigate relationships from thought. Everything. We just do because right, left hemisphere, by the way, it's one of the things you and I share is we're both very much dual hemispheric types of people, and we enjoy all the intellectual parts right along with all of the mysterious and non-intangible parts. And so to move into the wholeness, it feels that we must, at some level, give up the supremacy of creating and living as a brain, as just a thought, as a mind. And we could, who knows, like, the mind isn't in the body, is it? It's like, no, it's non-local, but yet we think people just are like little walking heads around in this world. And what was it you said in one of the classes? It was about information. In this age of information, the practice becomes a way, and again, I'm paraphrasing, a way to process information through presence rather than resistance. And I would also say through not thinking, like you said
Yeah.
before, we're not thinking. Well, and this is the thing, what do they do if they're not going to think? The mind's like, well, I must do something because that's the primary mode of proceeding is through the thinking. And this becomes a way to connect us with something that's the whole rather
Yeah.
than just the part. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, continuum is not the only practice that invites us to just rest in
Hmm.
our infinite awareness. And this is why meditation is so powerful and potent and why it's been around for eons
Hmm.
of time. And meditation is really a part of continuum. We call it open attention.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
really you move, you sound, you sense, you feel, you breathe, you're tracking your
Hmm.
experience, you're witnessing what is moving through your awareness, and at some point you stop moving, you stop sounding, and you just rest in that infinite field of imagination or flow
Hmm.
that is, it feels like it's beyond the body, but it's also happening within. Like we're it's not
Yeah.
separate from us. It is it is the realm of experience. As long as you're in a body, you're in experience. You're in
Yes.
this is a phenomenal realm, and we are here. We are architected for experience, and we are experiencers. So it's going to come through in whatever ways that you've been entrained. And it's, part of it is we've been programmed in certain ways and conditioned to be afraid of the body. There's that. And there's also taboos, lots of taboos, right?
Hmm.
And so much of what I do with people, with individuals, is I help them deprogram, just by seeing that this sensation that they're having, which might be very pleasurable, also brings up some kind of taboo or no in their system. And they get, instead of just shutting it down, it's like, no, 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 let's get curious. Where did this come from? And why is this moment of pleasure I'm having? I'm just moving. I'm just moving on the floor. Why is this taboo? So gradually people,
Hmm.
if they stick with this, and it does take some tenacity or commitment or curiosity or all the above to stick with it, because sometimes we get into territories that are not so comfortable, that are not so great.
Sure. And I think, and it's interesting, everybody comes in with a different a different context, and in a sense, a different level of capacity to deal with that which might seem disruptive or chaotic or unpleasant. So I'm going to tie a couple of threads together here. One, all these different disciplines, yes, and meditation and yoga, and I in my own history, lots of Kundalini yoga and lots of conscious breath work, and then lots of work with sound. And of course, we're both dancers. There's all these ways that the movement, the sound, the breath are in there. Mm-hmm. And so, depending on your level of experience, really, with actually coming into your body and finding out what's there, mm-hmm. Because you may have an emotional release, or you may have a physical sensation. You're like, what the heck? Or you may have a vision. And this can happen again in all these practices. Mm-hmm. But if you're a person who gets used to surfing that, you find, the interest, in a way, for me at least, is not just what is this feeling, or what is it, where does it even stem from? It's, mm-hmm. There's that. And I'm not really interested in touching it with more thought or more, in that moment in particular. Maybe later if processing needs to happen. I'm interested in just writing the energy. And then it becomes like what you were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. It can be lickety split. If we don't grab onto, what does this mean? Again, back to the meaning assigning aspect. Or do I need to go this way farther and think about this and analyze this? If we just stay with even the strong sensations of emotion, and this becomes a practice for life. I think this is why I'm speaking into it. Strong experiences of emotion, physical body sensations, variability in mood and in energy level and all the things. And you stay in the, what some call the observer consciousness or presence or pure awareness, and you have all of that. You don't deny it, you don't repress it, but you also don't make it the main event. It's an experience, and it's moving through. It's in the fluid river of life that the body is, and you stay with it, and it becomes so much easier because, now is this, and now there's that, and here's this, and here's that. And it becomes a focus into, as we move out of identification into staying identified in that, with that in us, which is unchangeable instead of changeable.
Yes. And there's the paradox too, because we oscillate, we oscillate between those kind of states of awareness, if you will, because in order to function, in this body, in this current reality, or in any time that there's a reality here, you have to be able to kind of toggle or oscillate. Staying in expanded awareness all the time doesn't necessarily land you in chop wood, carry water. So in Continuum, what we're really looking for, and what I have so deeply appreciated about it for me, is we're building out capacity. In other words, like, you start to really uncover where you're resisting, what resistances you have. And resistant takes a lot of different forms. It could be emotional resistance, or physical issues, or psychological things, or just all kinds, meant thoughts, just all kinds of things. Beliefs are huge. So over time, what happens is, your sense of who you are and what you are expands into this. It's like you start out with a stream, and it bumps into a creek, and then it gets into a river, and then it's like a mighty river, and it's this sense of being, until you get to the ocean, then you're the ocean of existence, right? So you're just entering larger and larger fields of awareness. And what happens is that then you can toggle between different parts of yourself with ease, with grace, because there's nothing outside of you. It's all here. So you're just able to move with that incredible necessity I think we need right now, which is adaptability. We need to be adaptable, to the context, the ever-changing, shifting, continuously metamorphosizing context. And then we're continuously metamorphosizing in the continuously metamorphosizing context. So, this requires capacity and adaptability. And then the other piece that's enormous and was enormous for me was how much continuum brought me into more receptivity.
Mm.
So I'm naturally fiery, you know, I'm very, I don't know what, I have a lot of energy. Like, I don't drink coffee. I don't need coffee. I am coffee. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I have a lot of energy. So, continuum really, I started to realize there was this whole realm that I was not living in called slow. And so for me, it was like, oh, I can even get slower. I can get
Uh-huh.
slower. And as I entered those realms of slowing down, my breath changed. My inhale and exhales got so much longer and fuller. My nervous system went, ooh, shoo, you
Mhm.
know, just incredible receptivity started to open up. And I was discovering realms, not just parts of myself or aspect, but like realms of myself that I had
Mm.
never entered into because I wasn't allowing myself to be that receptive.
I would love if you would share maybe what an experience that was particularly remarkable, or an awareness, or a realm that you entered through a continuum dive that has stayed with you as particularly, yeah, significant or powerful or potent. What came out of that moment? What was the thing that was
Well,
remarkable?
I'm going to preface this question just a little bit by backing up and speaking to like the community of continuum. And
Mm, mm,
every continuum teacher in my colleagues and even Emily Conrad herself, continuum lives so distinctly and differently in everyone.
yes.
So we have continuum teachers in our community in the Continuum Teachers Association who really work a lot with trauma,
Hmm.
or we have people who are who are osteopaths. We have people who are dance movement therapists. We have people who are body workers.
Hmm.
We have people who are Jungian analysts. So there's just like lots of different ways that this work can express itself because each individual human being is a context.
Hmm.
So I preface that because my context is really different. I don't have a therapeutic background. I'm not a body worker. My entry is movement. I was a dancer in a company for 10 years. I the director of my company always said, "You're going to be a teacher," and I'm like, "No, I'm a performer." And she's like, "You're a teacher." So anyway, I went off and developed my teaching skills. Yoga had a lot to do with helping me to find my teacher.
Hmm.
And then for me, continuum is extremely shamanic, and that's really my easy zone. Like I can I can move around in the dimensions just to try to find a way to language this. I'm an inter-realm dweller. So most of the time when I go into a dive, I'm very visual. My imagination is very active. I just start to go
Hmm.
wherever I go. And I'm not saying I'm leaving my body or I'm leaving Earth. I'm not leaving anything. I'm just entering what
The
feels like,
innerverse.
yeah,
Yeah.
the innerverse. And exactly, it's just like all the realms that are possible. And I've never felt, that's always felt very real to me, like this is what it's really about. We are multidimensional, pan-dimensional beings. We're not only in one dimension, robotic, mechanistic. I don't see the universe as mechanistic and robotic. So for me, I was in my dives, I started to go to a place or discover a place within me that felt like home in a way that I have never experienced in any other context. And so, it just started happening that every so often I would be able to go to this place, which I call the Falls of Life, which is the primordial headwaters. of the universe or metaverse, or however how we want to say it. But it's like a giant, just a beyond enormous. We don't have any words big enough to describe what this is, but it's just this immense rift in the fabric of space, and water is pouring out in a ridiculously huge. It's not on a planet; it's in space, and it's just pouring down like waterfalls into a pool. And so this has been like my literally like where I go to recharge, to be nourished, to commune at the most at the deepest levels, to restore, you know. And sometimes I'm there like in this particular body, like the Sabine body, and other times I'm just not in a body at all, or I'm in a different kind of body. So that's a very powerful aspect of the work for me. And of course, when I'm teaching a new group of students, I don't walk them right into that. Like, my work starts with like, let's get here in this, you get in yours. I'm going to show you how I'm doing mine, like, and we work on that for a while. And then, just the people who tend to love continuum, it's kind of like, it's the kind of thing that you either like immediately you feel the nourishment that's here, or you're like, this is just too weird for me. It's not my thing. But there's just a whole kind of body of work within the continuum that I find extremely powerful, very esoteric and metaphysical at its heart, and allows us to be the pan-dimensional time travelers that we really are.
Yeah. One of the things that I know we touch on a lot, and at least in my experience of your work, and it's something that I have found fascinating to dive into deeper, apart in the practice, but also apart from it, is the nature of how everything in what we would call our physicality is both a transmitter and a receiver of signals, of energy. And so being myself, an energy worker and somebody who thinks this way in consciousness, and am interested in having what I would say my signal tuned to a very pure, clear source, authentically true for this human being, and also authentically aligned and coherent in a greater sense with whatever my awareness is of pure source. And it's been so fascinating for me in this piece we're doing together now, this series I'm doing with you with the Body Cathedral, to notice how I can track, and this again is this metaphysical aspect. It's helped me to track what the signals of, whether it's my cells or something like glands, what they're wired to, what they're tuned to, what they are receiving from, which didn't always feel and to be that pure source, 0 point or point of origination. And so to recognize, like back to what you were talking about earlier, well, we've been programmed and we've been conditioned, and our signals have literally been usurped or hijacked, or let's make them go over here. And I had such a fascinating dive one day when we were working with the glands, when sounding into the ovaries, and I recognized it was like just this, what? Something I'd never seen before. I mean, I'm very aware of all my conditioning and programming and the different pieces of distortions that I've unhooked and rerouted and all that, but I hadn't really experienced it at such a physical level. The best I can describe is like they were routed way over here. And I was like, where are you going? And then I took a look at it energetically, and it was so fascinating because it was really to some other narrative. Oh, here's what sexuality is, or here's what this story means. And it had nothing really to do with me, not this being. And I went, okay, well, no, thank you. Thanks for the information. And here we go. And it became this process of rerouting inner energy signals, both transmitting and receiving, to a very pure, aligned template. And so as I listened to what you were saying and this traveling back that you've done, thank you so much for sharing that beautiful, beautiful, well, it's really an entire world that you just shared, and we got to receive the energy of that. So thank you. And I fully understand why you don't begin there and dive in with, with that. And yet, it's something that for those of us that are wired this way to explore, it's so readily available. So like many exploratory practices that are presence based, I'll just say, we learn things that are so surprising. So that was one of mine that was just tremendously helpful, actually, because once I saw it for that aspect of the physicality, I was able to look at it and take it, kind of in a sense, all the way to every cell, every aspect of what we would call the physical. And as you've said, our cells are non-local. So what really is physical? What is it to be here when we can also be there? Our cells can communicate over there. It really opens up that whole realm. So that's just been tremendously fun to have another route in, to that exploration. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's just, the human, our capacity as creators is just stunning. It's really stunning. And I feel like, there's kind of been this sort of, like fish caught in a net, we've been kind of pushing up against this net. And I feel like we are so close now to breaking through because so many of us are chomping on this part of the net and that part of the, and it's just like, it does feel like we're at the 100 monkey time or whatever.
And you've been saying how happy you are to be here now in this
Yes,
time. And there are
I
lots
am.
of other humans saying, oh my God, this is just blah, blah. And you're one of these ones who's saying, oh my God, I love the body and it's just so epically good to be here. So speak into a little more of that if you would, because I love that perspective in you.
Yeah, thank you. I think I have to credit my father. He was the cup runneth over kind of person, and he loved being in a body, and he transmitted that really clearly to me, and being very generous and optimistic. And I also have lived long enough to really look back at the choreography of my life and just be in awe. Like, we can't make this stuff up. Like, there's something at work here. And I have always felt a little bit like I'm tapping my foot and rolling my fingers on the counter, waiting. Like, okay, I have this very niche, particular set of skills and interests, and my passion is here, and it's all here, and like, what's it for? And I look around me, and the movement. Emily would always say, the movement people are out in the barn with the cows and the horses. Like, it's not valued in the cultural realm. Like, what now more than ever, somatics are getting some traction, but continuum really isn't quite in that realm. It hovers at the fringe and the periphery in a certain kind of way. Because for me, again, my perspective, my experience is very shamanic. It's very mystical. It's very multi-dimensional. It's very encompassing of our human, what we call what a human is capable of. So, I feel like we are just really at a threshold of breaking through the glass ceiling, or understanding ourselves freshly on so many different levels. And there's just been some institutions that I will not name who have done just their level best to make us feel just about as awful about ourselves as possible, particularly our sexual nature. I don't even use the word sexuality because I don't like it. But, and yet that is this incredible, vibrant life force that's in the body, that is so much about the energetics needed to even make another human, let alone have any, have pleasure, just feel alive. So, you know, um, I think I just, I volunteered to come from the falls of life or wherever it is and just wave the flag of love the body. Like that's just, I'm on team love the body. I'm not the only one on the planet who's doing that right now, but I am one of them. And, you can't just put it out there in words. You actually have to embody what it really means to embody is to actually show up and resonate the frequency that you are, right? So when I say I love the body, I love my body. I love being in a body. I love sensation. I love the mess of life. I don't need everything to be tidy all the time. I love feeling the range of emotions. You know, I'm not afraid of friction. This is a realm of contrast and friction. I mean, if you signed up for it and you didn't really get the memo that you were going into friction and contrast, I'm sorry, but you can't have all of this without that. So, again, our tendency to be afraid, and resist, if we can just really look at that for what it is. And I do know that each one of us needs that. We need to be walked in, or we need that titration. For some of us, we really have to ease in to more and more sensations slowly. For others of us, it's like, please, I've been waiting for this my whole life. Let me just have it all. So no two people are the same. But for me, the universe has just gone, it's like outdone itself in terms of making a body that feels, looks, smells separate, but isn't. There's so much individuation possible, and yet we're not.
There's only one of us, and
yet, I know. So it's like this incredible. It's the most profound paradox that there is in a certain kind of way. It's like I'm a me, but I'm a we. But and the we isn't just, of course, we're we, with other humans, but we're really we with everything.
Yeah.
So. And just like even holding that for half a second in your consciousness is life changing. That truth, like just touching it for a moment.
Well, and I would go so far as to say exactly what we do in this practice and in many others, like you say, but specifically in this one, we don't only hold it in our consciousness, we get an experiential sense of that truth. I mean, that really is the journey of the awakening, of the ascension, of all the things, of the embodiment and becoming the light body. It really is the journey that we don't just get it in concept, but we experience it, and then you go, oh, real different than just thinking about it. Real different.
Absolutely. Oh, it's like not even comparable.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not comparable. It's yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, we aren't just limited to one way of knowing.
Yeah.
And it's our cultures, many cultures on the planet that kind of have shoved us up into the left and placed that as the value.
Yeah.
So what can I say? I signed up for the, no, it's great. The left, rational thinking, all of those things are wonderful, and it's not the only wonderful that's possible. And actually, what if we bring those those hemispheres into more harmony and balance? And what if we inhabit the wholeness of this intelligence and not just think it's all up in the brain? But it's like we're figuring out the operating instructions again.
You just
right?
gave me this beautiful visual, because again, we're in the world of polarities and distinctions and this, not that, and right and left. And as you were talking, it just went, like the mind, the brain, the whole, everything, the right, the left. It finally went into that state of unified whole where there really isn't a distinction of that either. Right. It was just like, oh, thank God. It was such a nice exhale as you were describing that. Oh, yeah. I'm going to put down below this video some links, things that you share where people can find you, learn more about your work. And as we come to drawing this conversation to a close, is there anything else you want to share? that strikes you as here is the thing that asks to be spoken. Yeah, in this now moment.
So what's in my heart?
Hmm.
What's in my heart right now is it's time to be in the body.
Hmm.
It's time to be here. This is the best, most amazing time ever to be here. And that all of your brothers and sisters in all the different types of skin bodies, fur bodies, feather bodies, human skin bodies, tree bodies, all of the bodies need you to be here in yours.
Oh
And
God. Yeah.
and and that
Hmm.
even more than that, I feel the profoundness of Earth Body, who maybe sent out a call to us, but certainly is who is our gracious and most benevolent and generous hostess,
Hmm.
has, and I would say, even, like I can extrapolate that out to the sun, to the transformations that are happening at every level,
Hmm.
in the sun body and all the other planetary bodies, in the galactic body, in the universal body. Like everyone in this whole entire universe is on call to be here right now. I'm not talking here on Earth. I'm talking here wherever they are,
As
like
what you are,
full in
where,
that
yeah.
present, in
Hmm.
that awareness, right? And to be
Hmm.
awake, to be aware, and really, and this comes full circle back to the beginning of our conversation, of the ancient Mu, and what I've learned from Keone Hanalei, because he just puts it in the most beautiful way. Is like this universe is here to manifest love, and we are all participating in the creation and the manifestation, the architecture, the artistry of love. And what is love? Love is not just one emotion, it's encompassing of all emotions. So it is the sum total, the fullness of the wholeness of it all. And I feel that this is the symphony. And, for me, what I want to invite people to do, actually, whether you can get yourself to one of my classes or any continuum teacher's class, is you have a voice and you have a body. And when you wake up in the morning, go outside, put your feet on the ground, and open your mouth and just let sound come out. It doesn't have to be a word or a song you already know. Better yet, let it be something you've never even heard yourself sound like, but just let the sound emerge out of your body. Just let your body sing. The body knows how to sing. Because this is another whole conditioning we have, is there's certain people who are singers. And that's just not true. Like we're all singers, we're all dancers, we're all lovers, we're all.
Yeah.
So that's my invitation. That's what I feel inspired to share. I feel that if we all woke up in the morning, wherever we are on the planet, and we walked outside as the very first thing we did, and we put our feet on the ground and we just sang for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and put our sound into the world, the
Mm.
world would change from that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's what I'm prompted to share, to just let the heart have its voice. Just let it come right up and out.
Beautiful.
Don't edit yourself. Allow yourself to be uninhibited for just 3 minutes a day.
Absolutely.
Like just let it rip. I
I love
think I think that's a powerful, powerful medicine that we all have. And it's so simple. So simple.
it. Yeah. Yeah, we are the medicine in that way. We are the frequency, we are the movement, we are the sound, and all of that is the medicine, and we are it already, and we can step into the stream. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for sharing all this wisdom, all of this exploration and inquiry into the practice and into what it means now to be here now in a body as as the infinite and to hold our note. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. To be our light and hold our
Sound,
frequency.
really. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
send it out. Yeah.
And
Thank you,
send it out.
Sabine. It's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you so much, my
Mm.
friend. So beautiful to be with you.
Mm. Aloha.
Aloha.